So it's Orcs and Planes with this Warhammer 40,000 Dakka Squadron Flyboyz edition. And man, I'm not a Warhammer fan, but it seems like an interesting world when you see so many different types of games come out of this universe. You see first-person shooters, RTSs, and now you see sort of arcade flight sims. And it's full of orcs. All you can see is orcs flying airplanes and shooting each other. The opening full motion video is decent, but I wouldn't say it was like totally blown away by it. The graphics on the first stage are also decent, which you're gonna sort of feel like is the word of this whole video, decent. They look okay. They look sort of a cross between like PS2, PS3 graphics. And all the orcs seem to speak like English, like various British slangs. It gets rather irritating rather than fun to listen to very quickly. There's a lot of repetitive sound bites in this game that they use gratuitously, especially when you just down like an enemy plane and like the millionth time and you heard the same orc say, "Oh, you got one!" The planes look great in the hangar. The graphics seem to look better in stills and like in the later levels that I didn't reach than rather in motion. The levels themselves feel like really long, and the flying is really close quartered. Like you don't feel like you have enough room to maneuver it as like a pilot flying an airplane. Yeah, you can unlock upgrades and new planes. I didn't try the second plane. I tried like the C-shaped crescent one. The music's also really repetitive and gets irritating. The levels feel really long and like unfortunately, like for a shooter it feels like it's sort of a chore. Like, oh, you have to shoot 10 towers. Oh, you have to shoot like 5 ships. And like after I finished the first level, which felt like 30 minutes to an hour, but was probably like 10 minutes, I just felt like I had already had my fill of the game, unfortunately, and I didn't really feel like playing it any longer. It's like this reminds me of like the flight arcade games that came out on the PlayStation 1 like 20 or 30 years ago. Yeah, it's kind of entertaining. It's kind of decent, kind of entertaining. But like those games back then were limited by the actual hardware of the system. These games should not be limited by like modern PCs. Like they don't even look like they're even stretching the PC that I'm using like at all. So you know that shouldn't be an issue. And I'm not really a fan of like dog fighting in a small arena. I played like Ace Combat 7 where it's wide open, you can fly across oceans, and it feels like more of a sim than this. But yeah, it just feels like every part of this game, unfortunately, seems to like just get annoying, like gratingly annoying. The controls are also really wonky. Like when your plane's like sort of like this, like sort of hanging like a chandelier is going back and forth. This is the first flight sim I can think of where I actually bumped against walls. Like other like Star Wars games and whatnot, like I can dodge other ships. I have no problem with that. But like in this game, it feels like a wall dodging simulator. It really does. And I'm surprised that like my airplane didn't explode, because like it would have like these big flames coming out of the planes, but then like the flames would disappear just randomly. So it's very hard to find like the targets in the first missions. Like the towers, they sort of indicate like where the towers and everything are, but like you're looking like over the caverns and underneath, and like it's not really obvious where they're located, the towers or the airplanes. And yeah, like the auto lock is only somewhat functional and useful. It sort of highlights like the enemy planes a bit better, but like it doesn't actually lock you on properly from the way it felt. I paid $13 and the full price is $22, but like it really feels like a $5-10 game maximum. Absolutely maximum. Like I felt like I was receiving like 20% of the fund of the purchase price for like a $20 game, and it's like I was super surprised at how many people found this game super fun, and like I just didn't see how they thought this game was super fun. From enduring like the sound clips that are super repetitive, the wonky controls, and the annoying music, and then the okay graphics. It felt more like an endurance to like play through this game, and it was a relief when the first mission was finally over. I went into this expecting like an arcadey, like flight sim, like Ace Combat, and you know, meets Warhammer, and instead it feels like a really sloppy game. I would give this like a solid 6 out of 10. I felt like playing this for an hour, but afterwards it gave me a headache. And I appreciate Star Wars Rogue Squadron and the Squadrons games a lot more than playing this. So if you're a huge Warhammer fan, you know, check this out. But otherwise, you'd probably want to give this a pass. Keep on gaming. Bye.